There's a lot to like about Dullahan in this year's Belmont Stakes. Third place in the Kentucky Derby. He skipped the Preakness, has trained really well at Churchill Downs, and then shipping over to Belmont Park, trained well there with a half-mile breeze this past week leading up to the race. Dullahan began his career last summer at Churchill Downs in a couple of maiden sprints, and when the stable shipped up to Saratoga, Dale Romans put him in a grass race. And I asked him recently why he did that. Did you think the horse was going to be more of a turf horse than a dirt horse? And he said, no, simply the horse needed to go long. This was the first race available, going a distance of ground, going around 2 turns. So he ran him in a maiden turf race. Didn't win. He ran him back in the With Anticipation Stakes, a Grade 2 event on the turf at Saratoga. He finished 3rd that day and was still a maiden when the stable went to the Keeneland Fall Meeting. Dullahan won the Breeders' Futurity at odds of 17-1. This year, that was then he went to the Breeders' Cup and finished 4th behind Hanson, Union Rags, and Creative Cause. This year, Dullahan ran 2nd in the Palm Beach Stakes on turf. Took the Bluegrass over the same Keeneland Poly track where he won the Breeders' Futurity last year, and then was a fast finishing 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. Doug O'Neill has gotten a lot of attention for the way he's trained I'll Have Another. The horse hasn't had a timed workout since before the Kentucky Derby. On the other hand, Dale Romans is training Dullahan a little bit old school. He worked him a mile recently and then did the half-mile blowout this past week in 45.97 seconds. A very quick work for a half mile. I did some studying of Triple Crown winners and Triple Crown horses that going back to the 1930s. And one thing I found is that a lot of the trainers really worked their horses a distance of ground coming up to Belmont. Today's trainers tend to gallop their horses more. Dale Romans went old school. He worked them a mile in 1:43 and then did the half-mile work. Very similar, believe it or not, to the way Lucien Laurin worked Secretariat after the Preakness and before his 31-length blowout in the Belmont. Secretariat worked a mile in 1:34 and 4, a little bit faster than Dullahan went. And then just before the Belmont, he blew him out a half mile in 46 and 3/5 seconds, and he went on to set the track record at the Belmont. Dullahan, a very strong contender. I think the race sets up well for him here. There's going to be a lot of contention, I believe, in the front end involving a Painter, I'll Have Another, and even Union Rags. Dullahan will be running in the stretch of the Belmont.